Let's do this. Let's do this. Hello, people. Me again. Another beautiful day, or evening, or almost night. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Hope your health and strength is good. But, so I guess y'all thought I wasn't gonna put no content out today, on a Sunday, You better think again. Anyway, how y'all people doing? All right. Now, what do I got for you people? Listen to this. We talking about the Activision Blizzard deal here. Listen to this. European Commission argues FTC Microsoft lawsuit is unjustified. European Commission argues FTC Federal Trade Commission Microsoft lawsuit is unjustified. Look, let's set the record straight right now. When it comes to this Activision Blizzard situation, Sony and Nintendo only care about games. They care more about video games than people. I'm going to say this again. Sony and Nintendo only care about video games. They don't care about people. Okay? The entire staff at Activision Blizzard was going through turmoil. Okay? Problems are happening all over the place. And they needed help. And Sony and Nintendo never stepped in. Okay? Sony had the rights to, exclusive rights to Call of Duty. That only goes for a couple of years. But once that expires, what do you have? Nothing. So when Activision Blizzard was going through their situation, Sony did not see that as an opportunity to own Activision Blizzard. They did nothing. They didn't step in. If Sony and Nintendo would have stepped in from the very beginning, Microsoft could never bought Activision Blizzard. But since they didn't, Microsoft saw that and said, really? You guys didn't step in? Okay, we'll take care of it. I guess Phil Spencer ran back to the heads at Microsoft and say, look, we need to jump on this now. The heads at Microsoft is like, okay, to the rest of the shareholders, like, what should we do? Should we get involved? Is it any of our business? Should we care? Should we help them? I guess Phil Spencer kept driving the point home, saying we need to jump on this now. What should we do? Should we get involved? Okay, take 70 billion. Go get them. Done. Okay? If Sony and Nintendo would have stepped in, Microsoft could have never bought Activision Blizzard. Okay? Sony and Nintendo only don't care about people. They care more about games. The entire staff at Activision Blizzard needed help, and they never stepped in. But Microsoft did. So now the FTC, a bunch of Sony and Nintendo fanboys now, they filed a false lawsuit against Microsoft. And now the European Commission is going at them. Anyway, says here the European Commission is looking into Microsoft merger with Activision Blizzard, but doesn't think the FTC lawsuit has any real substance. Alright, let me get through this. Says here, the FTC recent lawsuit against Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition is receiving from pushback from the European Commission in a report from MLEX, then it says in parentheses, and released by Reset Era. The European regulators argue against the FTC notion that Microsoft has been dishonest in making Starfield and Redfall into Xbox exclusives. Says here, potentially locking off games to Xbox was the point of contention in the FTC statement. Then it says in parentheses, as it has been repeatedly during this acquisition, close parentheses. Then it says here, the U.S. organization used Bethesda's upcoming pair of title as an example of what the Xbox maker could do with Activision Blizzard stable of games, saying that Microsoft has already shown that it can and will hold off content from its gaming rival. Really? So how do you explain when where the FTC and the U.S. organization? Let me ask you this: where were you when Sony was hitting Microsoft with all those time exclusives? Where were you? Where were you when Sony had rights to Spider-Man and Xbox fans couldn't get Spider-Man on Xbox? Where were you? Anyway, let me keep going here. Says here, similar complaints were leveled against Microsoft back in November when the EU launches its full investigation into the acquisition. Its word against the FTC stopped just short of saying the U.S. regulator board is lying about its claim against the game publisher. Says here the EU has argued that neither Starfield or Redfall can be used as example of withholding content. As Microsoft has frequently indicated, both titles would be Xbox exclusive. Microsoft didn't make any commitment to the EU regulators not to release Xbox exclusive content following its takeover of ZeniMax Media. The EU told MLEX the Commission cleared the Microsoft/ZeniMax transaction unconditionally, as it concluded that the transaction would not raise competition concern. Then it says further, the EU added that Microsoft choosing to make particular games exclusive wouldn't be denying other publishers an essential input, even if Bethesda titles were permanently solid off to Xbox ecosystem. Then it says here, Microsoft, for its parts, told the EU that Starfield and Redfall exclusivity is also warranted because they're both wholly new properties with no pre-existing sales, revenues, or communities of gamers on any console, much less PlayStation. That will be impacted by any exclusivity decision. It says here that Starfield and Redfall, like pre-existing communities, has been previously used by Microsoft to justify their exclusivity before. Towards the end of November, it releases a filing to the UK regulators which explained that both titles are exclusive to meet particular niches and mitigate potential losses. It says here both titles are a mid-sized game. According to the filing, may be joined by Elder Scrolls 6 in being exclusive to Xbox ecosystem. However, the fact of the matter is that both games already had communities the moment they were announced. Starfield marks Bethesda's game studio's first new property in decades, and its first console title since 2018 Fallout 76. And Redfall hails from Arcane, maker of cult classics such as Prey and Dishonored franchise. The FTC claim may lack merit, but Microsoft's justification for Starfield and Redfall not coming to PlayStation and Nintendo appears equally baseless. Gaming communities are formed before a game is even released. Okay, let's say anything Star Wars. Anything with any game with the name Star Wars on it, the community is already formed before the game gets released. Okay? Let's take a game like, say, Star Trek. Anything that says Star Trek on it and it's a game, the community is already formed before the game is even finished being is finished and complete and ready to play. Okay? So when it comes to games, communities are formed before the game is even released. Let's take what was that? Gotham Knights. The Gotham Knights community was based off the Arkham community. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, the Blackgate series, in Arkham Knight. Okay, so communities are formed before games are even developed. Once a studio who has history is making a game, announce that they're making a specific titles, the community is already formed. So to me, the Federal Trade Commission argument is fake, and it's weak, and it has no value. Okay, and I'm gonna say this again. Where was the FTC when Sony was hitting Microsoft with time exclusives? Okay, where the Xbox fans had to wait a couple months before they can play the game, or even years. Let's say Street Fighter 5. Where was the FTC? What about the Spider-Man situation? Where was the Federal Trade Commission? So to me, their arguments is fake and it's weak, and they should have never filed this lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission need to ask Sony and Nintendo, why didn't you step in when Activision Blizzard was having turmoil with their employees? What were you doing? Why didn't you step in? And that's what this all comes down to. Like they say on Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, first come, first serve. They didn't step in. They didn't even make a move. Sony and Nintendo don't care about people. And I'm going to say it. Sony and Nintendo don't care about people. If you did, you would have stepped into the Activision Blizzard situation, and that would have prevented Microsoft from even dropping $70 billion. So when you didn't step in, and Microsoft got Game Pass and they got that thing up and running, and they're looking for another studio, and they saw that you did not step in one bit, Phil Spencer ran back to the office and was like, look, we need to jump on this now. What y'all think? Should we get involved? Is it any of our business? Should we care? Should we help them? What value is Activision Blizzard to us? What y'all think? Should we really help them? Should we even care? What y'all think? Okay, go. Take $70 billion with you. Go. Go get them. Done. Okay? Sony and Nintendo did not step into that situation. Okay? They only cared more about games and exclusive than people. That's what this all boils down to. The Federal Trade Commission lawsuit is fake. It has no value. It's not going to hold up. Okay? And for those people on YouTube that screaming monopoly, they need to be quiet because they don't even know what a monopoly is. They're just running their mouth. They don't know what a monopoly is. Activision Blizzard was out in the open. They were wounded. They had internal issues all over the place. Problems happening. All kind of stories coming up. And Sony and Nintendo sitting on the side, looking at this situation and not stepping forward. That's a sign of weakness. That's a sign of being a coward. Microsoft, on the other hand, saw that and was like, really? You guys are not stepping in? What? Okay, we'll take care of it. Phil Spencer is like this. We need to jump on this. They need our help. We got to jump on this. Should we get involved? Is it any of our business? Should we care? What y'all think? Okay, go. Go get them. Done. Okay? So when you look at this entire Activision Blizzard deal situation, you all need to blame Sony and Nintendo for this. They don't care about studios. They don't. Just saying. So Federal Trade Commission is wasting their time with this whole situation, talking about it's a monopoly. But they don't see how they need to look at Sony and how many times they have withheld games from Xbox. Okay, so when it comes to this whole situation, man, Microsoft was right. This was about Microsoft. If Sony and Nintendo is not going to do anything, what are you going to do? Are you gonna become like them? Or are you going to take charge and take the lead in this situation? And that's what Microsoft did. So this entire Activision Blizzard deal, man, Microsoft was right for doing what they do. Okay? And Sony and Nintendo, they need to grow up. Okay? Because like Phil Spencer said to the entire gaming community, sales is not the end-all, be-all to video games. Yeah. He even said, look, it's not what they can do for us. It's how can we help you. Sony and Nintendo offered no help. Microsoft did. So they were right for what they do. So, like I said, the Federal Trade Commission argument, it's weak, has no value. Like the title says, it has no substance. Anyway, leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Bored, dark side. Peace.